Okay, folks, it's your buddy Mike Messier. The Lesson, Mike's Instant Movie Review. For those of you that are new, I see a movie and then I review it. And the playlist is called Mike's Instant Movie Review. And in full integrity, I actually saw this movie yesterday. I did not do the Mike's Instant Review instantly, but here we are 24, 27 hours later. What did I think? Well, first of all, why did I see The Lesson? Counter programming. Now, for those of you that aren't going to the movie theater these days, you watch your movies at home. I still say that the movie theater is the best way to see the movies. However, I don't like people in general. No offense to you, I like you. But just being elbow to elbow with a bunch of fucking assholes in a movie theater, I typically don't like that. I like going to a movie theater if there's basically me alone in the theater, all the better. If it's a small crowd, okay. When it's a big crowd, I get a little bit, I don't like it so much. So, knowing that the big movie going on right now in the world, I still haven't seen it. It's the Freedom, the Cry of Freedom, the Sound of Freedom, the Jim Caviezel. You still have things like Transformers and Spider-Man and all these big blockbuster films. So a little German-made movie like The Lesson is not going to be a big hit where I am in this city, okay? This northern southern city of Jacksonville, Florida. They're just not going to go see The Lesson. And I know this because I've been studying these patterns of what hits, and also on the app, the AMC movie app, I can tell how big the audience is going to be up until showtime. So knowing that the crowd was going to be small, and it turned out to be an audience of one, me, I was able to rest my weary feet, take off my socks, crack my neck, and enjoy the film. But did I enjoy the film? See, I just gave you an image. You know, all these other auditoriums are filled up in the multiplex with people seeing the Cries of Freedom and the Transformers and the Indiana Jones. And I am all by my lonesome in this big, vast theater yesterday. And this is the deal. Ready? I haven't seen the Transformers movie yet. I do like big movies, but I also like small movies. And when I say small, I just mean it's a singular location. It's a character-driven, dialogue-driven piece. If you've seen my movie, Blood Sugar Sedase, or my short film, The Impeccable, over on One Man and a Camera Films, you know my style of actual filmmaking. So when I watch a movie, I gravitate towards these, character studies. I don't need a bunch of explosions to entertain me. I want to know a story. This is why I think this movie's not going to be a big hit. And yes, it's well made. Julie Delpy, whatever. She's a great actress. If you ever saw Before Sunrise, Before Sunset, if you ever want to, this woman is one of the all-time beauties. If you ever see the movie Killing Zoe, she plays Zoe. Julie Delpy, gorgeous woman. She actually directed a film. It was called Zoe, too. Zoe, a couple of years ago. She's a wonderful actress, wonderful human being. Here she plays kind of the beaten down, Stepford wife, the wife of this rich asshole writer. And should you see the movie or not? I'm going to say maybe. It really depends. And now I'm going to give the spoiler review. Look, Julie Delpy is just a hot woman. And even now, I guess, as she's reached mid-age or whatever, still a hot woman, but kind of a wife hot, get some curves to her these days. It's okay. And then they have this fucking asshole son. We meet the son. He's prepping to go to college or whatever the fuck he's prepping for. And this asshole writer, rich guy, and his wife pay for this tutor to come along and tutor their son to make sure he gets into school. And then we learn that the son actually had a brother who committed suicide, apparently before the movie began, in the lake. The lake that's at their fucking mansion, their wonderful house. Now, the house and the lake, I guess you would consider this a one-location movie, because you're basically at this rich people's house and their fucking lake the whole movie. Different rooms of the house. And that's why I say this is a small movie. Not because they used, it wasn't an out-of-pocket movie. There was obviously a budget with good actors. Julie Delpy, Jesus. But They're not going to different locations, and so more or less it's an inexpensive movie to make on that level of G-Funk. Now here we go. There's a couple of issues with this movie that make it hard for me to give it a rounding endorsement. First of all, the most interesting character is never seen in the movie. And I've experienced this with other films, a stage play. I experienced this sometimes when you have these plays or these movies where a central character that's mentioned is dead, and kind of the characters in the movie are living in the aftermath of that character's death, but then you never see a flashback to that dead character actually when they were alive. I think movies like that are always at a disadvantage, and stage plays like that are always at a disadvantage. And yes, the artistic asshole writer would say, oh, well, that's the whole point. We're living in the aftermath of the deceased, blah, 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 fuck. But as an asshole audience member, I can say, look, if you want me to care about the deceased, and if you want me to care about the characters that care about the deceased, yet I personally, as an audience member, have no correlation to the deceased character, I'm limited in my ability to care, okay? And I've seen so many of these goddamn movies, one or the other, and a stage play that's really sticking out that I saw back in Rhode Island maybe 7 or 8 years ago. This whole stage play was about drinking and driving, or it actually was about, it was about like heroin, like what's the fucking, the pain pills use, the whatever the fuck, the fucking Vicodins and everything else that everyone got addicted on. And the main character was never seen because, you know, he's basically alluded to, but then he's dead. And I told the fucking people did a Q&A of their fucking play afterwards, and I raised my goddamn hand, and I said, you know, I think the big missing character here is the person that's dead who's doing all the fucking pain pills, the Oxycontins, because we never saw him. So they're leaving a void, and they got the fucking playwright and all the actors got all their fucking panties in an uproar because I pointed out the fucking obvious, and they didn't want to deal with it. You can have a fucking script, whether it's stage or screen or TV screen, that has a central character that's deceased, but I'm telling you that the creative options for the audience are limited, and you're never going to fucking achieve what you want to achieve, you know. And the whole presumptuous or pompous attitude of, oh, well, the audience will, you know, fill in the gaps. Well, you're asking the audience to do too much. I can't care about a character that I've never seen, assholes. It's so goddamn fucking obvious, but idiots never want to listen. So let's move on. This movie suffers from that. The Lesson movie suffers from that. The son who committed suicide, we learn, spoiler again, did not commit suicide. Apparently he was drowned by his father, who then stole the kid's writing, his novel, and put his own fucking name on it. And then the tutor guy, and good for him, he fucks the mom, Julie Delpy, which is always a nice way to say fuck you to a man, is to fuck his wife. You know what I mean? Like, that's the great old spirit of things. If some guy's giving you a hard time, and in this movie, the bad guy, you know, father, tells the tutor of his son that he can't write worth a shit and he should just stick to fucking tutoring. Well, when the guy leaves the house, you fuck his wife. So that's always the best thing to do, is fuck a man's wife. That's like the ultimate thing you can do. You know what I mean? So, and it's Julie Delpy, why not? Or the character that she portrays. No one ever fucking remembers the names of characters. Everyone just says the name of the actor. Oh, Leonardo DiCaprio in Titanic. His name was Jack, assholes. Or you just say, oh, Leonardo DiCaprio in fucking whatever the fuck. As a matter of fact, I might have told this story before. The gentle fuck, who was that asshole, Malcolm Gladwell, that everyone fucking jerked their hands about for years and years? Oh, Malcolm Gladwell, whatever the fuck. So a friend of mine bought into all this Malcolm Gladwell bullshit about 10 or 15 years ago. He was very 2010, this Malcolm Gladwell, how much of a fucking genius he is. So I sit there with the paperback, reading my friend's copy of this Malcolm Gladwell book, whichever the one fuck it is. And in the opening chapter, he mentions the actor, Pee Wee Herman, is what he's writing in his book. And I said, Pee Wee Herman is not an actor. Pee Wee Herman is a character. Paul Rubens is the actor that created and portrays the character of Pee Wee Herman. But in this fucking Malcolm Gladwell book that's supposed to be the genius on 2 feet, he's got clearly in his fucking book the actor Pee Wee Herman. No, asshole Gladwell. It's not an actor. It's a goddamn character. And I'm reading this book, and I'm like, oh, I got one over on Gladwell. How smart is fucking he? If I can point this out in his goddamn book that all these assholes are buying. And so I write to fucking Gladwell on his goddamn website, and I point out this inconsistency of truth, lie, mistake, error. And do those fucks ever give me write me back or say, yes, Mike, you're smarter than Malcolm Gladwell. We should be publishing your fucking books? No. These assholes just ignore me. So I never read a fucking Malcolm Gladwell, whatever the fuck, book again. And every time his ass is on TV, I just say, you know what? Why should I give a fuck what this guy has to say? He doesn't know the difference between a fucking actor and a goddamn character, and he's not man enough to fucking admit it when a genius like myself writes him a goddamn email. So going back to this fucking film, whatever the fuck it is, The Lesson, why is it limited? Why are people not going to fucking buy a ticket to see this thing, or whatever the fuck? Or if they do, like I do, why am I going to give it a Midland review? It's rich people's problems. Basically, it's like, and I've never seen the movie. I've seen the stage version of once at least. What's that? The Will Smith thing, like the thing that made it, like whatever the fuck. 6 Degrees of Separation, and there's tons of fucking rich people movies that people do like, but for the most part, when you see certain movies that just are dealing with rich assholes, you just feel like they're rich assholes. Like, you don't give a flying fuck. Okay, this weirdo asshole writer and his fucked up family, and he killed his son, and blah blah blah, and here's the tutor, and they're all rich fucks, and you don't give a fuck. That's basically it. So it's not that the movie's bad. The acting's all fine and dandy. But here's a third issue with it. So first off, we have the dead character. That's the most interesting character, but he's dead. We never see him. Not a flashback. Not even a photograph from my memory of the dead son. We have the fact that it's rich people's problems, right? So we don't give a fuck because they're rich assholes to begin with. And third, and probably most importantly, there's no real protagonist in this thing. I mean, the protagonist by default is the tutor, who fucks the guy's wife and who's trying to get to the bottom of this and all this happy horse shit. But the reality is he's not that likable at all, So, I mean, he's just a fuck going along with the circus, and just another cog in the machine. I didn't really like his character. I mean, I didn't, you know what I mean? I cheered him on when he fucked Delpy's character, not her. But I really didn't give a fuck about him. So it's interesting because this is the type of movie that I like. And I mean, I did take a little snooze about, maybe a 5 or 10 minute snooze. I was so goddamn tired when I saw this movie. I don't think I missed much though. But the point is, this is the type of movie I like. The non-transformer, the non-fucking cinematic universe of some fucks. I like a nice story-based movie. So this is the type of movie I like. However, I'm just being fucking honest with you. It didn't hit me on all cylinders. It was watchable. I had no issue with it. I like seeing Delpy on the screen, as you might have gathered. But did it fucking rock my world, Beethoven? Absolutely not. So if you want to see my fucking movies, one, Mike Messier is my Mike's Instant Movie Reviews, my life rants. If you like this review, you probably were going to like my Flash review. I go into the Ezra Miller controversy as well. If you want to see my films and say, well, gee whiz, Mike, you have all these goddamn opinions. Where are your fucking movies? Go over to One Man and a Camera Films. If you really want to be a nice fuck, buy my book. Click on the fucking link up in the corner of this thing. Fight or Play Basketball is a wonderful young adults fucking sports novel, good for the whole family. A Distance from Avalon is my gothic horror. The Foreign Object is my eBay store with all these wonderful things. Support me. Push the like button, push the subscribe button, do all the things I tell you to do. Should you see this movie? Should you not? If you want to. One pro wrestling and sports fan for my pro wrestling and sports rants. That's it.